Yo, what is up? What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Nonsense Nap, here today again with the Truck Chronicles. Via the truck, your boy, Nonsense Nap, is going to bring you a One Piece episode review of episode 16 through 20. Last time we left off on episode 15, we was in Syrup Village, essentially Luffy and company taking on Captain Kuro. We left off with the Usopp pirates following Kaya into the forest, or essentially escorting her in there to keep her safe from Django. And Usopp left off with an emotional speech. You know, he pretty much made running away looking strong. That was the words of Zoro, and he did. You know, pretty much let them know, like, look, man, we got to be men out here. We gotta keep her safe. You know, I can't do it, so I need y'all to do it. You know, so help me out. So it was kind of dope, you know, seeing that and hearing that from Usopp. But yeah, like with this particular episode 16, we get a follow of that. So they're essentially in the forest, you know, trying to keep her safe. Luffy's still fighting Captain Kuro, doing a hell of a good job. With this particular fight, you could tell, like, Kuro been for 3 years not really been doing too much, you know. He's still kind of training a little bit, but obviously not to the degree of being a pirate, you know. So he's a butler now, and you kind of see like that the dust is wearing off the rust, if you will, still on him. So with that particular fight, though, Luffy still holding his own, aware of the technique that Captain Kuro uses in this arc. Essentially, he does this. I forget the name of it, but it's like back attack or something like that. But he sways side from side, and spoiler warning. So, and I have to remind everybody, you know, we're watching these, for those who do or don't, whichever, you know. But for those that do, you know, watch these spoiler warnings, because again, I'm reviewing this in a way of I'm already ahead of these the series. I'm already caught up in the manga, so I'm essentially bringing you content that correlates to these episodes that I see. So another person that sways back and forth is Bobbins for Big Mom's crew, and he has a devil fruit that essentially, you know, with him going back, swaying back and forth, he puts people to sleep. So I kind of wondered if that was just like a touch Oda did early on, you know, to showcase that, or if it's just like a coincidence. But nonetheless, he does that and essentially takes off, you know, moving fairly fast. One of his claws are already broken because Luffy used the rock to intercept an attack and then broke off the blades. But he's essentially using one claw now to utilize that attack, and he's attacking his men. They're getting clawed up. They're not dying, but they're getting scratched up pretty bad. And he's hitting Luffy a couple times, but I don't think the damage is that severe because he doesn't know where he's attacking. So that's the drawback with that. He's moving fairly fast, but he doesn't know where he's going. So he's just kind of like swinging aimlessly. And that's not like the best, but, you know, in close quarters, that could be fairly dangerous. So, and that's kind of like what we saw on the Marine ship. You know, he was in close quarters, so they couldn't really maneuver him, you know, move around like that. But in open space, it's not the best for him. We besides that point, we get to see Zoro finish off the Meow Band brother, and you know, he obviously follows Usopp into the forest to essentially save Kaya. Again, because that's kind of where we left off in 15 as well too. Nami is on the ship witnessing all this stuff because she's recouping the losses of her treasure along with taking their treasure as well, because that's just what Nami does. And I didn't really see anything else in 16 that can like showcase going forward in the series. Except for the fact that he may have haki again, because like he's able to use observation to a certain degree, as from what I can tell. And he has like that invisible coat in the haki. Like that's just like the only thing that makes sense to me. But in 17 and 18, 17 we get the conclusion of the fight, and also the Straw Hats received their first ship, the Going Merry. With the conclusion of the fight, pretty much Captain Kuro's crew realizes like, yo, if Luffy beats him, we won't die. So they start cheering him on, and Luffy stretches his head back like, yo, you ain't got the right to cheer me on, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I thought that was kind of funny. You know, Luffy just being real, A1, 100, all time, you know. So, but yeah, like he does that and knocks out Captain Kuro, slings him back towards the crew, and just pretty much like leave, you know, and don't come back. So they flash forward, going into the forest. Usopp and Zoro, Zoro drops Usopp off after realizing where Kai is at and starts sprinting towards her. He realizes he's not going to make it in time because Django has her by the throat and is about to kill her. Now, mind you, the Usopp Pirates during this point in time, they were holding their own against Django, but they're kids. 3 9-year-old kids against a grown man who's been a pirate for a while, ain't going to really hold their own to him. You know, so, I mean, they did what they could, but, you know, ultimately they couldn't, there wasn't enough, you know, so, oh, damn, I lost. So, you know, they couldn't really do too much against him. He had Kaya right out her will. And essentially going from there, you know, he catches her, pretty much about to kill her. Zoro steps in, cuts down a tree branch, which was blocking Usopp. Usopp uses his attack, the Exploding Star, which hits directly into Django's face and stops him from killing Kaya. So that's essentially how they, you know, finish that. And everybody's safe, everybody cool. Usopp has them promise to not say anything to the villagers because he doesn't want them to worry about anything in regards to that, which is fairly smart because nobody's really gonna come into Seraph Village because that's how it's been for so long, you know. So it's just kind of cool, you know, to hear him say that because he doesn't want the villagers to worry. He just wants them to think like it's a normal day. And with him leaving to essentially start off on his own, and I think it's kind of ironic or coincidental that Usopp and Luffy both set out to be pirates at the same age, you know, at 17. And for him, it was just like seeing them come, it was just like, man, you know what, this is something I need to do and I want to do. And I feel like that's fairly dope, you know, again, like Usopp being the man, you know, just like, yeah, this is the right decision. So, with the Straw Hats essentially saving the day. Again, they get to receive their first ship, being the Going Merry, and pretty much invite Usopp to join their crew to be a part of the Straw Hat Pirates. And that's kind of the conclusion of 17. In 18, we get to see Usopp's artistic ability because he can draw, he can kind of create. He's a craftsman in a way. Also, we go to the Treasure Island and we meet Gaimon. Now, again, spoiler warning. In the cover pages in the manga, we see Sarfunkel. So when you see Gaimon, he's a man that got stuck in a box. So he, you know, he's been in the box for 20 years. So he's kind of like his body's adjusted to said box. So he can't really get out of it per se. If he does, it'll probably damage his body. And spoiler warning for that is because his name is Gaimon. The girl on the cover page is Sarfunkel. So Simon and Garfunkel, for those who know that. But I feel like that was a good shout out from Oda. But my thought with that is, if his body can't be broke, like you can't break the box to break him out, Law could potentially cut the box off of him, and this way he should be able to survive that way. Sarfunkel, I believe she's in a barrel, so it would be the same for her too. Don't know if she's that size or if her knees are pressed up that high or not, but Law could potentially save both of them. And I don't know if that'll be presented in the story or not, but if it does, you know, you heard it here first. Yeah, you know, Gaimon was a good dude. He real good dude. on the island, pretty much trying to protect his treasure that he saw. He got there on that island 20 years ago because he was a pirate, and he said he saw a group of pirates come there pretty much distraught. They never said a word because coming from the Grand Line. And personally, I don't know if that was, spoiler warning, I don't know if that was Brooks' old crew, because we know his captain left outside the Grand Line because of his illness. So I don't know if they was just stuck there for a while, because that could be the reason as far as being on the calm belt as well, because that's where they were at. And it just took them a fairly long time to get from there. So I mean, it's possible, but at the same time, it's kind of a stretch. It could have just been a random crew for all we know. I still try to look at the ship to see if I could like make it out, but it's not a clear cut, you know. It's not a clear cut like what's the word I'm looking for? It's just not clear, you know. It's not clear enough to notice if that's the actual ship. Plus, they took a different ship than the main ship that they had, so it's still not clear enough to know if that was them or not. So, yeah, you know. So with that being said, Gaimon was stuck on this island trying to guard this treasure for 20 years, and pretty much he has the opportunity now to see, you know, to reap his benefits, only to figure out that when Luffy sees the treasure chest, they're all empty. He doesn't tell him immediately. Gaimon figures it out himself and praises Luffy for not like pooping on his dreams, you know. So, and again, that's just Luffy being A1, you know, just being a good dude, you know, being a great guy, and just, you know, showcasing, you know, like how good of a person he is in that matter, in that regards. But with that as well, you know, Luffy offers to have him join his crew again, potentially, maybe sometime later down the road, because of these animals that were there. It just seemed like a reference to what's kind of going on in Wano now, with a lot of different spoiler warning, a lot of different Zoan type creatures, because they're smile users. So we see like a mix of animals there. So I don't know if that's where someone got the idea to try to like manipulate, or if they've already manipulated those animals per se in that regards and just dropped them off there. So I don't know if that island like definitely has a lot to do with what's going on in Wano or not. But you know, they leave from that island because Gaimon pretty much defers to join, because he realizes that these animals here are worth more than gold. So, and that's dope. You know, it's a good message there. But they leave from there. They start floating around trying to figure out where's the next stop. And they work on their cannon fire. Luffy, not the best. Usopp, obviously, being the sniper of the crew. He gets confirmation of that, while the first time he uses the cannon, he knocks down a faraway crevice island, per se, I guess, type that you could say. It's like a buoy, if you will, but a rock formation. So I don't know how to best describe it. It's a big ass rock in the ocean. So he knocks that down. But come to find out that there was two people over there on that rock formation, and one of them, well, actually both of them made their way over to the Straw Hat ship, and it's also come to find out that these two individuals are pirate hunters, since he's bounty hunters, and they know Zoro because Zoro used to be a pirate hunter, not self-proclaimed, but other people professed him to be so because he needed money. We found out from the conversation between him and Luffy, he couldn't figure out his way back to his dojo, so he was lost trying to gain money to figure out how to get back. That's just typical Zoro. But with that being said, you know, we figure out that it's Johnny and I always forget his name. But the other guy, I can't remember, he's got scurvy. So they heal him, they fix him up well with using lime. And that's just something to keep in mind for those who are going to be out on this open seas and the ocean. You know, keep some lime with you, you know, some citrus for a long period of time, because that'll help you out in the long run. After that, Full Body comes, a Marine named Full Body comes out, and he pretty much sees a Straw Hat ship. He doesn't recognize the pirate insignia, so he's not worried about it. He's like, they small fry, I'm not stunting them. But ironically, they all wind up at the same floating restaurant, the Baratier. So I'm hyped. You know, this is one of my favorite characters in the series. Young gentleman Sanji, the sous chef. So let me back up a little bit. Full Body pretty much, you know, said after meeting the Straw Hats, and then he's like, all right, you know what, they small fry, don't worry about it. Hey, but sink they ship. So they pull out a cannon and they pop. No questions asked. Just boom, shoot. Luffy like, I got it. As opposed to using balloon, he catches it with his stomach. It pulls him back. He tries to like slingshot it back at the Marine ship, but one of his arms give because of the pressure of the cannonball, and it pulls him a different direction when it winds up hitting the restaurant. The part of the restaurant that it hit was the owner of the restaurant's room, Zeph. And we're going to see a little bit of a flashback with him as well to know, you know, his background on things. But inside the ship, inside the restaurant is where we get to see Full Body and this girl out there on a date or whatever. He tries to predict this wine because he tried to have it set up to where he would know what the wine would be. But the way Sanji and everybody do the cooking in there, they correlate the dish and the wine together. So obviously in this particular case it didn't happen. So when he guessed it, he guessed wrong. Sanji put him in his place and was like, yo man, but enjoy the food, and dipped off. So had to come back because Buddy tried to pretty much make a play to devalue the restaurant's character, if you will. And Sanji wasn't going for it, put him in his place again. And my man's broke the table, also messing up the food. And Sanji, and when we see his backstory in regards to that, you'll understand why that was such of a concern for him. But pretty much my man's up with the quickness. It's like, look, bro, you know, all you had to do is just take the bug out the soup and you could have ate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't that big of a deal, you know. But Sanji don't go for none of that. So as the Straw Hats enter in, back up a little bit. Luffy went to talk to the owner, Zeph, about messing up his ship and restaurant and hitting the owner. So, you know, them two having an out. Pretty much Zeph let him know, like, look, you can work off, you know, this here by staying here for a year. And he like, nah, bro, I can't do that. You know, 1 week. He's like, nah, it's not gonna be a week. All right, with 2 weeks. No, 2 weeks ain't gonna be enough. All right, 3 weeks, nigga. No. You know what I'm saying? So that between them was kind of funny. Zeph is like, no respect, you know, so he kicking his behind. You know, they kind of just going back and forth about it. But in the midst of all that happening, Sanji downstairs, you know, taking out the trash. And at that moment of time, Zoro, Usopp, and Nami come in, and they see that Sanji's holding up Full Body, bloodied, you know, pretty much from Sanji kicking him and going from there. So that's where that episode 20 ends off. So we're going to get more into the Baratie arc. And, you know, see what's upcoming with that. No spoilers in that one. Probably going forward it will be. So just keep out on the lookout for that. Let me know down below what you guys thought about the video. You know, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As far as like right now with episode 20, let me know what you think about the series. You know, if you think it's really good, if you think it's slow paced, if you think, you know, it's a lot of comedy in here. Like, what are some highlights for you in the series so far at episode 20? But also check out the manga too, because there's certain things in the manga that's mentioned in there that's not mentioned in the anime. They don't always put in there because it may not be kid friendly, so this is something to keep in mind. But always remember, you know, this is the channel that's going to bring you content, whether truth or lies, show discernment to know if it's fact. But it's always fact because it's coming from nonsense now. All right, everybody be safe out there. Peace.